again, folks, and welcome back to another video. And this week we have to go fast. In this modern world, there's not a lot of time to do the things you love, so we have to do them quicker and better and faster. So this week we are going game hunting, and we're going to do it very quick. Let's see how many shops we can hit in just one day. Let's go.
Pick up! Rush tricks! Game hunting! Oh yeah!
As we all know, in the modern world, we have less and less time to do what we love, so we have to do it smarter. So this week, I'm going to see how many shops I can hit in the period between 9 and 5. That's right, I'm going to take my 9 to 5 on the road and hit up as many charity shops, game shops, and places to pick up awesomeness as possible. And I'm going to take you folks along for the ride. And I reckon you'll be surprised at how much you manage to pick up in one 8-hour shift of game hunting. Before we hit the road though, I just want to remind all you folks watching to please hit the like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5. I want you folks along for the ride. Now let's hit the road.
Here we go then, it is 9 AM and I am in the middle of Norwich, going back to a charity shop I've been to before because I really have a hankering to pick up some comics to begin the day. I've been picking up quite a few comics at the minute, and you know, this is a really good place to get them, but the problem is you have to rifle through a lot of stuff to find what you are looking for. These are all pretty cheap, £2 to £3 each, but you know, I haven't got a massive amount of time, so you know, we are on the clock. So yeah, I did manage to find a few bits that were pretty cool. I didn't have time to go through every single comic in the shop, but definitely picked up some cool bits. So yeah, this was a really good way to start the day. So basically I went as far as I needed to, and I'm now working my way back through the city. Sadly, this specifically retro charity shop wasn't open, but the prices here are always a little bit inflated. But you know, they were open too late for me as we were on the clock and I was already straight into the next shop. So the problem is with a lot of charity shops, you have to go through a literal wall of DVDs to find the one game, only to find out it is some football PS2 game. So a little bit of a disappointment, but you know me, keep it going. Best thing about this part of Norwich, there is literally charity shops next door to each other, so I could jump straight into the next one. But once again, I did find some games, but again, they were football games, and the pricing on these was just weird. Like, the older FIFA games were more expensive than the newer FIFA games. I didn't really understand the pricing here, and yeah, the pricing was just all over the place. But you know, I think, as I've said many times before, the charity shops are literally where FIFAs go to die. Another shop and just a small amount of games hiding behind these DVDs. Like, we had Real World Golf, which if you get the peripherals to is kind of fun, and Tiger Woods. So obviously an ex-golfer and an ex-soldier maybe traded in their games into this shop. Nothing really of interest here, just more DVDs and those shovelware kind of games. On to the next shop, and something I kind of think I need to do a bit of research into is the Harry Potter books. I know some prints of the Harry Potter books are worth a lot of money, but it's something I definitely need to do more research into. We're about an hour into the day, and I really hadn't had a lot of luck so far. So on my way out to sea, I always want to hit up CX. I was very, very tempted by this copy of DJ Hero 2 because it's the Renegade edition, where it has like the amazing hard case for it. But you know, also I do want to have to carry it around for the rest of the day. Interesting selection of stuff in the window, mainly collector's editions. Always loads of Joy-Cons for the Switch, and yeah, nothing really jumped out here, so it's heading into the shop. Just a quick intermission here to say, if you have not played the Guardians of the Galaxy game, especially if you have an Xbox and Games Pass, it is on there and you should definitely check it out. It is a really, really good game. Another thing that's quite cool to see is the price of Assassin's Creed Valhalla is finally dropping, as I've been to play that for quite a long while. It seems a lot more recently, my local CX is getting in some decent, really good kind of old school games, like in its higher tier levels. So it's not really the cheap retro stuff, but it's more the kind of high end stuff. So they had like pretty much every handheld ever made, including again the Game Boy Micro, about 150 quid this time. But yeah, there was some really good retro stuff in here this time. Like, these boxed Pokemon games are absolutely beautiful, but they are so expensive. But I was looking for something a little bit cheaper. A weird game that I've been meaning to play or pick up for years is A-Train HX on the Xbox 360. Didn't pick it up today because I was mainly looking at the original Xbox. You know, it's a console I really enjoy collecting for, And there was just some really cheap kind of low-level filler games, because I feel it is a console that maybe one day I would go for the full collection. You know, I think there's like just over 1,000 games, like 1,000 or maybe 1,600. And yeah, this is the time to kind of buy for this console. It's super cheap to collect for. A lot of the games can be played on either your Xbox 360 or your Xbox One. And yeah, it's just a really fun, cheap console to collect for. There's loads of games out there for it, and not many people are collecting for it. I was starting to make my way back to the car so I could head on to our next destination, but there was a few charity shops left on the way to check through that wall of DVDs again. And one that did catch my eye was this Resident Evil box set, as I've never seen this kind of artwork for it before. I didn't pick it up because I have got the Resident Evil films on different formats, but a really cool looking box set. Yeah, nothing really stood out too much in this store, but you know, that's the thing, you have to just pick through all these DVDs to find the gold. One thing I don't see that often, I see Wii balance boards all the time, but boxed ones. Like, I do have a boxed one. I think in the years to come, it might be slightly harder to get the boxed version. So next up on this 9 to 5 retro trip, we were headed to Bungie again. And the first thing I found was this PlayStation 2 steering wheel. And if it hadn't had this massive amount of damage, I might have been tempted to pick it up, but I have got way too many steering wheels as it is. The games in this shop were sadly pretty bad. Like, there was a lot of PC games, a lot of football games, just basically a whole lot of nothing. But, you know, I had to have a little bit of a dig through, check there was nothing I was missing, but yeah, not really anything to write home about here. Maybe should have picked up his Xbox games, but the next shop, we struck absolute gold. 50p each for these Xbox games. Like, this is a game I've been looking for a while. This is the one FIFA you can actually trade in for any amount of money. It's not a lot of money, but you know, it's a FIFA you can actually take to CX. But there was some amazing games in here for 50p each. Like, this is the kind of dream stuff that charity shop hunting is all about. Finding these games for 50p each, because they are all decent trade-ins at CEX. You know, if you already have these games, you can trade these in to CX then and get some decent retro stuff or whatever you want, really. But yeah, I was absolutely chuffed. The day had been fantastic so far, but now we're in Alsham, I thought it was going to turn around and get a lot better. In the same charity shop, they had this really cool looking board game, but you know, if a board game doesn't say it's 100% complete officially on the box, I'm not really be sold. Same thing, like this PlayStation 4 controller was a pretty good price. Looking back, probably should have picked that up. But on to the next charity shop, and something I have been looking for so long is some decent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures. Like, some of the designs I absolutely hate. These are like the early 2000 ones, and I really like the look of these. And for the price, £1.50 for 3 turtles, definitely had to give these a new home. In the same shop, there was something that combines two of my favourite things, Star Wars and trading cards. And look at these trading cards. This is a thing of absolute beauty. That must have taken someone so much time and money and love to build this collection. And to see it in a charity shop kind of breaks your heart a little bit. Like, did they grow out of Star Wars? Did they just stop collecting? Did they just grow up and, you know, move on, unlike some of us? But yeah, definitely had to pick this up. I'm always a sucker for trading cards, and this thing was absolutely lovely. This charity shop was one of the last ones we visited this day, but it had a really good selection of DVDs as well. I will definitely be adding this charity shop onto the kind of route of charity shops I go to, because there was so much good stuff, like cheap DVDs and like music DVDs. These are something sometimes they can get a lot of money. Sadly, this one wasn't. It had been a really good day. Literally, the stores were closing as I was trying to pick up the very last bits of the day, and the last pickup in about 5 minutes before the shop shut was this sealed copy of the Garbage Pail Kids movie, because I've never seen it. What a day it had been, what a rush. Now back to the games room.
There we have it then, folks. That is what a 9 to 5 8 hours of game hunting looks like, and it was actually fairly exhausting. If I was not running around shops, I was driving. It was a long day. I did finish it with having a nice meal, so that was a nice way to end the day, but I also managed to pick up some amazing bits. Let's have a look at those now. It does seem to me that some of the bigger cities are just not as good for charity shops as the smaller towns. I don't know what it is, I just always seem to get my best stuff from smaller towns. I guess you just get less footfall and there's more chance of finding something cool. But I think also the same can be said for CX. Some CXs are definitely better than others. The Norwich one just doesn't seem that great of it, but I did still manage to pick up 4 games for the original Xbox, and it's one of those consoles I just love collecting for. I loved it when it first came out. I absolutely tore into the game library recently. I've got like well over 300 games. It's cool to add ones in I don't have. So the first one, this one actually looks pretty cool, is Heroes of the Pacific. So this is kind of like a World War II kind of flight simulator game, and you don't get many games like this anymore. It just seems to be a genre of game that's not really happening anymore. For £2.50 is a cool one to add into the collection. Next up, again for the original Xbox, we have First to Fight. And this looks basically like propaganda. I think it was kind of from that period when everyone was just trying to be the next Call of Duty. I've never really heard a lot about this game. I don't think it's exactly going to reinvent the first-person shooter, but being able to add it for a quid complete into the Xbox collection is pretty cool. I have never ever seen this game before. Bicycle Casino for the original Xbox. Literally, it just looks like kind of your run-of-the-mill kind of poker casino style game. I literally know nothing about it, and these are the kind of games it's best to pick up. If you've never seen it before, chances are you might not see it again, so for 2 quid, definite CX grab. Final pickup from CX is Real World of Snooker 2005 season, and this is just the kind of game where if you see it cheap, in decent condition complete, you might as well just pick it up. When you're trying to boost a collection or aim for a full collection, it's these 50p sport games where you can just get a nice easy grab for your collection. If you've been watching the channel recently, you know I've started to pick up comic books a lot more, and I have tried to stick to kind of video game based comics, but this one absolutely stood out for me. Just the artwork is absolutely incredible. I don't know what it was about this one. I don't know anything about comics. This is half my problem. I do not know about them, so I literally have to judge a book by its cover, but this Captain America and Falcon one is a thing of beauty and I had to pick it up for £2. This next comic is from the Fables series, and if you do not know, that is the series The Wolf Among Us is based on. And if you have not played The Wolf Among Us, I think, hand on heart, it is probably my favourite of the Telltale games, so I would definitely recommend checking it out. So I'm looking forward to checking out this comic. Finally, we have this Dead Space comic, and it is issue 2 of 6, so you know I'm going to be looking out for the other 5 issues to complete the set. Once again, this is a really cool one. As I said, I'm really trying to stick to video game based comics, so this one definitely ticks that box. I wish I'd had a bit more time because as you saw in the video, there was piles of comics, but I had a quick sift through and these are the 3 I managed to pick up at £2 each. I'm pretty happy with my purchases. One of the things I don't really talk about on the channel is how many DVDs I actually buy from charity shops. I kind of see it as a way of kind of renting DVDs very, very cheap, especially if the film's not on stuff like Netflix or Amazon Prime and you have to pay for the renting, which is normally £3 to £5. So if I can pick a film up like Venom, which I wanted to watch before I watch the sequel, for a quid, it's a cheaper way of doing it. Another film I picked up is this Dungeons and Dragons movie, which I'm sure is terrible, but as a fan of playing Dungeons and Dragons, I at least wanted to check it out once, and for a quid, how bad can it be? Finally, you saw me pick up this Garbage Pail Kids DVD, and you might notice it's actually sealed. So, 2 things. This one actually is quite intriguing to me. I've never heard of this film. I've obviously heard of the Garbage Pail Kids, and it just seems like a classic 80s film I haven't seen. So, it's a bit of a conundrum. Obviously, I can't really find anywhere to stream this online, so to watch, I'm going to have to open it. At the minute, it sells for about £12 sealed on eBay. If I decide to open it and enjoy the film, it trades in CX for £4. So for £1, not too bad. I'm sure it will not surprise you at all to hear that when I was younger, I was absolutely obsessed with collecting trading cards and sticker albums. They were one of my favourite things to spend my pocket money on when I was younger. Just going to the shops and picking up a pack of 6 trading cards or stickers for about 20 to 30p. But I reckon in this day and age, this Star Wars official collector binder full of Topps Force Attack trading cards would be a lot of money spent. This must have been someone's labour of love with their pocket money. So to pick up this folder, which is absolutely rammed with cards from the charity shop for £2.50 for the childhood memories of just flicking through this album, is really worth it. Speaking of childhood memories, if there was one cartoon I loved more than any other when I was a child, it was of course the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So to pick up these 3 Turtles figures for £1.50 for the free. They may be missing their weapons, and there may not be a Leonardo, and they may not be the classic turtles, but they're definitely that more old school design. They're from the year 2000 or so, but for £1.50 these are going to look awesome on the game shelf. The absolute best find of the day though was undoubtedly those 50 pence each Xbox 360 games, and these were not bad titles. This was an absolute score. Let me just add this up for you. Remember, these were all 50p each. First of all, we have FIFA Street. This one trades into CX for just £1. So we doubled our money on that one. Next up, we have a game that people sleep on all the time. FIFA 16. The number of times I see this in car boots and charity shops is astonishing. This trades in for £2. That's 4 times what we paid for it. Next up, we have a classic GTA 5, which we all know trades in for £3, and you see this all the time. Really good if you can pick it up cheap. Lego games always trade in well. Lego Batman 2 trades in again for £3, but the one that blew me away, I did not expect this at all. Farming Simulator 15 goes into CX for £8. We paid 50p for this. That is multiple times our money. That means this bundle of games, which we paid £2.50 for, is going to equate to £25 in CX credit for £2.50. That's literally 10 times the amount we spent, and is an amazing way to end the day. So there we have it. That was just one day of 8 hours of game hunting. We managed to get loads of cool stuff for the collection and £25 of trading credit for CX to put towards that next big purchase. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please hit a like if you have. Subscribe as I put new videos out every single Saturday. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you all soon. Until then, keep playing the game. See you all soon.